For the record, please tell us your first name, last name, and where you live.
Sure. My first name is Monisha Patel, and I live in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. Wonderful.
Yeah. Um, in a few minutes or less, what's the advice you can give to kids who are already here, teenagers who are wondering about what do I do next? Regarding regardless of cost. I know university education is a shock after school, paying nothing in high school. All of a sudden, it's a lot of expense, and a lot of people take on loans that last a long, long time.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we never had to do that, and
Yeah. I think you really need to think about the fact that you probably will do this for the rest of your life. Think of something that you are so passionate about that you can do that for the rest of your life. Sure, you can change careers at any time halfway through your life, no problem, but you have to think what keeps me curious, excited, because I go to work when I get students come through, because we get the students come through. I always tell them, like, you need to be excited to go to work and enjoy what you're doing. Because if you don't have that passion, you're going to go, you hear people grumpy every morning. They don't want to go to work. They don't want to go to work. Those people, I'm not sure that they found their true passion. Because if it's something you really love to do, you're going to do it with all your heart and you're going to enjoy going to work. So I would say that to them, and you may not know when you're 15 years old. You may not even know when you're 20. Some people don't even know till they're 30. But you got to figure out what really drives you, right?
so I'll be the devil's advocate. And my passion says do a certain job which doesn't even pay minimum wage.
I know.
How do I go on?
I know. And that's a very true statement. You could say that you need to also think about what type of salary you're going to get, and is it going to be enough for your lifestyle? Because something's going to have to give, right? Something's going to have to give. So if you want to do something that doesn't pay well, you need to be ready for that lifestyle that may come with that, I guess.
Now, I'll throw something out. Your lifestyle, you mentioned, we've talked about income, and there's a good old days expression that they used to say, cut your coat according to your cloth. Right? So everybody can live a decent lifestyle here in any profession, but you may not be able to change cars every year or drive imported cars and wear expensive Gucci products and things like that. So my point is, you got a healthy living here, unlike back home where the poor people really struggled. They couldn't even afford to buy sanitary hygiene, things like that. So now when you're here, it's a choice. Either you double your income or you reduce your expense.
Yeah.
Can't have both. You can't have both.
Right.
So how do you teach that to the teenage kids? I don't mean literally teenage, but young people who are not yet married, who haven't thought about it.
I think, again, that they need to be realistic too, right? And understand that, like, for example, my son and I talk about this all the time. And that what we talk about is, how are these children going to be able to afford a house?
Mm-hmm.
When we were buying houses for $200,000, $300,000, these houses are now 1.2 million, and the salaries have not increased that way.
That's right.
So if they recognize that the salaries have not increased to that same level, they're going to have to understand that something's going to have to give. They're not going to be able to have a house that's 2,400 square feet. They may have to settle on a condo that's 800 square feet, because that's what their salary is going to allow them to afford. So that's what I think. If they look at the big picture, they will understand. And I think, honestly, a lot of them are going to live with their parents for a long time. And we're ready for that. Where we left our parents at age of 19 for school and never came back, these kids are going to be with us for a long time.
Right. Yeah, so it's a joint family system coming back.
It's coming back because I don't see, there's no other way around it. The salaries have not increased like that. So.
Right. But again, Brampton and Toronto, the house property values have gone up like crazy. But if you move 100 kilometers west of that, if you come to Guelph, it didn't go up like that.
No, it's all around the GTA. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but it's still quite high. It's still high in Guelph.
Become part of the GTA. Milton is very expensive.
Yeah. So there has to be a fine balance. Right now, of course, we have all these opportunities now where you can work from home. And
Mhm.
if you're lucky to have that type of job, you may be able to live in a small town somewhere way out in Timbuktu and afford a cheaper home and you're all set. But that's rare too. I mean,
So, in contrast to that, I'll tell you what my parents' passion was. My parents' passion, and they were refugees from Burma and struggled back to India. And their passion was to have all four kids well educated.
yeah,
They never thought about buying a house, and
right.
they never did. So,
That's
where did
right.
this come into our mind that we all have to be landlords? We have to be house owners.
Yeah, I think that it's the keep up with Kardashians, right? It's the way that people are now. And I see it all the time. And it's like, oh, why don't you come for dinner? We bought a new house. We have a new kitchen. Come and see our new kitchen. Oh, we have a hot tub. Come see our hot tub. Whereas even if I think about my parents, they're very simple people. They didn't need all of that. They just needed to, survive, make sure we had food on the table, right? And they raised us really well. They are very, very simple people.
Yeah, but they got you all educated properly, and they didn't let
Yeah.
you drop out in ninth grade.
No. Oh gosh, no. Not with a father like mine. You couldn't drop out.
Yeah. So the priorities have changed, and like my dad never owned a car or a motorcycle or a scooter or a house, and
Right.
he put four of us through the best that he could afford.
I
So, and
know.
he was happy. He was a content man. So talk about
Absolutely.
that. What is your definition of content, and compare that with a person like your son? I don't mean literally your son, because he may be a totally different person. Generally speaking, the population, next generation. What is
I think
definition of contentment?
I I think like for me compared to a 20-year-old,
Hmm.
what keeps me happy and content is first, I think family first and keeping those relationships with family and friends. I mean, I think relationships are so, so important. And that's changing in that next group of people. Like my son is good, but I can probably say that most kids his age do not know who their aunts and uncles are. They barely know who their grandparents are. So for me, I would love for that to come back around.
Mm-hmm.
Doing content with just what you have, which is your family, because that's really all you need in the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we need money to survive and that sort of thing. We need shelter. But without your family and your friends and that content that they give you, yeah, that's what keeps me happy.
So I don't think you go to a shrink, do you?
No,
You don't need to. Your dad
no,
come by, check
I
out.
did. No, after my husband passed, I did have therapy for a
No,
year.
I'm just kidding. I shouldn't have said that.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay. I'm open to talking. But I think that if we continue to focus on the things that really matter and know that family, back in your time, look at like you're still friends with my dad, right? I don't see these kids having friendships like that. I could
Hmm.
be wrong. I could be wrong. I
Hmm.
could be
Hmm.
wrong. But there's a different type of love and understanding of those generations.
Hmm.
An unconditional love, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to your dad and me, when your dad was in Bhopal with me, um, he was a foreign student.
Yeah.
Right? Foreign students were like blessed by the queen kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's very different to the status. We were financially totally different, this thing. But yet, your dad used to stay with me in the summers when he couldn't go back home or didn't go home. He'd stay with me in Delhi. And we had a small house, but four kids and mom and dad and whatever else. But we all managed. We never complained about whether I shared
Exactly.
rooms or sharing washroom and all that. But life has changed. Now we talk about, I'll just give my own example. When I lived in a one bedroom apartment, I've had 14 people sleep overnight because we
Exactly.
didn't have four cars. People came in somebody's car and they left, or the car broke down, so they cannot go in. So we had people sleeping under the dining table,
Yeah.
right? Now
Yes.
we
Very
went
different.
went to the six-bedroom concept with no couples visiting us. Yeah, so
I
uh,
know it's very different. It's very different.
yeah, and people have also become what's the right word? They want to keep their problems to themselves rather
Yeah.
than And they'll talk about other people's problems, which is more like gossip, but they won't come to you and say, hey, look, I'm having a rough time. This is what happened to me.
Yeah.
And that's where our social integration, dependency on each other, that helps a lot.
Yes,
I hope that will
absolutely.
come back, not just because of not being able to afford another house, but the values have to be seen.
Yeah.
On that subject, we were with a group the other day, and a comment was made that the psychiatrist, I think is the right word, not psychologist, psychiatrist has no mandate to maintain a list of how many people he or she has treated who never come back.
Right.
They treat you forever and ever. They don't want you to leave.
That's right.
It's maybe 99% true, only not 100%, but I've seen veterans and my wife's from Sacramento. So
Right.
we've seen over there homeless people on the roadside, 60, 70 veterans in little tents, worse than in India. And some social worker and a psychiatrist would come and visit them, spend an hour with them sitting on these portable chairs, and then leave. So next day I find out they've given them a list of 10 more sessions rather than saying, okay, you got better. Why? Because the government pays them $1,500 a pop every time they visit.
Right.
So no incentive for them to get these people off the books. Now, I'm telling a very biased thing because a lot of the people I see in the roadside over there are fit, but they won't get whatever they need unless they do all kinds of other things. And it's tough to generalize. I think I shouldn't generalize because I haven't been in their shoes. But anyway, now what's happening without getting into politics? Now what's happening across the border is scary. Right?
Yes, it is very scary.
Yeah.
Hopefully the leaders will make the right decisions and
Did I see some
gloves on?
Did I see some gray hair in there?
I have lots of gray.
Oh, okay.
I'm growing it because I'm allergic to hair dye.
Oh, I see. I see.
So I decided that I'm just going to embrace it now.
Right.
It's a privilege not everyone gets, so I'm going to just embrace it.
Look at that. I don't have that privilege either.
I'm definitely not going to go bald.
I'll keep it all. Okay. Last few minutes. Any other words of wisdom you'd like to talk about?
No, I'm just very thankful that you've asked me to speak today. And I'm here. If anybody wants to talk about anything respiratory related, call me through Eddie Uncle. I'm happy to help you with your asthma, your COPD, or even just to talk about life. I've been through so much in my life, right? Happy to help somebody get through theirs. And lean on your people. I always say lean on your people, lean on your family, lean on your friends. And every single day is a blessing. Every single day.
Exactly. Yeah. I've spent the last year living in a room in Brampton. Are you aware of that?
You were what?
I lived in a room with students in Brampton.
No.
Yeah, I spent a year there. Okay, I'll tell you more about it after I stop the recording.
Sure.
Yeah. Anything else that we want to broadcast and reach people? I'm hoping to reach 500,000 people without it going viral. If it goes viral, then it'll be more. But this is just the beginning.
Yeah, it is. I want to be able to help people. So whichever way they can reach out to me, I'm happy to help. That's really the message.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Eventually, thank you very much for coming. What we will eventually do is see what your expertise, what you're willing to talk about, and then connect with people. So we are rounding up volunteers as we go along. And one of the successful volunteer business that I started was driving people for medical appointments. And we go anywhere from Ottawa to Windsor, from Buffalo to Owen Sound or thing, and free of charge, no this thing involved. And a lot of them are people like your parents who are looking after their parents.
Yeah.
Right. So they can be everywhere, right? So it's not just like babysitting, but we're driving people around. But having said that, we also get misused or taken advantage of. We get calls from the airport saying, I won't mention names, but Mr. and Mrs. Smith are here. Their kids dropped them here for going away, but their flight is from Buffalo, not from Toronto.
Oh.
And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I drive them to Buffalo, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I try to reach those kids to see where the hell are you? You don't even know where your parents are. And they've turned their phone off. It's a long weekend, so you don't want to be bothered.
Oh,
so I don't believe that it was an innocent mistake.
That's so
So there are
sad.
cases like that. But on the other hand, I've got two Christmas Eve last year, not this year, but 2022. I volunteered to drive anybody, not only old people or people. And a couple of the older people, long story short, they wanted to be picked up at the two different places at the stroke of midnight, New Year's Eve. So I said, I can't be in Brampton and in Burlington at the same time. So you decide one has to go earlier than the other. So anyway, we decided one's going to leave at 10, one's going to leave at 12.
Right.
And while this was going on, a week went by. No, I'm sorry. Six people had asked for help. These two couldn't decide until the last day. They left it, and then they got mad at me saying, you're my friend, and how can you let me down? I said, because you didn't make a commitment. Anyway, so I forced them. I said, why don't you drive with me?
Yeah.
And of course, they told me what to do with it. But they called me back an hour or two later and they said, we'll drink in moderation, we'll drive ourselves home. They called me back after 2 hours saying, we're not going to drink. And then January 6th, his mother-in-law called me saying, I want to meet you. I said, why? She said, 40 years, I haven't seen this guy sober. Because wherever he goes to a party, he comes in and gets drunk. And this New Year's Eve, he was the life of the party. You know, everybody got to know him. Everybody got to know that he's got kids. He got to know our kids and grandkids. So he's one of my drivers, and he stopped cold turkey. He doesn't drink anymore.
That's such a nice story. Yeah.
So we got two people like that. But on the other hand, I've got organizations. I was a member of the Canadian Mental Health Association and through the church groups, and they all told me, do whatever you want, but don't mention our name.
Right. Oh.
Because of liability.
Right.
They're concerned that an 80-year-old guy is driving on their behalf, or I might run away with one of the females. So my strong belief, and I'll stress this, everybody who is viewing, in Ontario, there's a law called the Good Samaritan Act.
That's right.
Are you familiar with that?
Well, I know it in terms of CPR, right? So if you know CPR, just go for it. You're protected if you do, as long as you are trained and you say you're trained and you do it and they pass away, unfortunately, you're protected under the Good Samaritan Act.
And everything. If I pull somebody out of a burning car, and I break their neck or ribs or whatever, I'm protected as long as I'm not stealing their wallet.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So that takes care of a lot of things. You don't worry about it anymore. If the car's going to blow up, you've got few seconds, not minutes. So these are things that I mentioned to people, and people are getting more educated and more careful. Otherwise, they just turn their back and leave. I know doctors who won't go to the scene because they feel the other way. They feel that they'll be charged for not.
Right. Yeah. I know. You got to do what your heart tells you to do, right?
Right. And the other big thing is, it's not a matter of the degrees you have or the specialization you have, as long as you're not bluffing, right?
Yeah.
The good intention, sometimes all you need is a shoulder for somebody to cry on.
That's
if nothing else, you can train them or guide them to the right place.
Yeah.
You know, if I tell them this has got to be done, they may not accept it as easily as they will. And it matters about the age group. Some people respect the older person. Some people want to talk only to their own age group. And I will count on you sometime to contact you and ask you to come somewhere.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
No problem, Adianka. Okay. Thanks for having me.
All the best to you. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night. Like, subscribe, criticize, pass on to others, share what I'm saying to you, because these are words that won't be repeated again and again and again. Most others are telling you all the nice things. I'm telling you the facts. Thank you. Have a good day. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.